And all these in 2 parts in that great documentary series. We're talking about Ghana's Great, first premiered on Monday evening at 8 and continuing part 2 this evening at 6:30. And I hope that you will make time and watch the concluding part. It was produced by our own Kuku Super Prep. Great documentary. The first part was just a sight to behold. Great content, great educative piece, and we will discuss it right here on the show after all of us have been able to watch the concluding part this evening. But as we await this great discussion and how this great documentary has generated a lot of reactions, we also have to tell you about the latest as we have it. We do know that sometime last year, we had to do this. It was important. Many residents of the Lejokuku constituency were raising concerns about the state of that 7.5-kilometer road just in front or opposite the Lekma Hospital. And, well, we did that great initiative, made sure that that campaign was on with the hashtag Fix Lekma Now. But several months on, what is the progress of work? We take you now to that road to get the latest.
We're currently on the Lekma stretch. Now, this is a 7.5-kilometer stretch, starting from making entry through Teshi, and will take you to the junction that is bordering the Spinters Road. Now, we all do know that this was a subject of great controversy over the last year because residents of Lejokuku constituency had indeed raised concerns about the state of the road. And since we had that campaign, that also was spearheaded by JoyNews, the rest of the multimedia subsidiaries, Joy FM, Adom TV, Adom FM, and the likes. We've had considerable attention that has been given to this road, not only by the ministry that is responsible for making sure that we have the rehabilitation or the reconstruction of the road, but also various officials of the assembly, and then those who are well-meaning within the area. Now, this is what so far has been done. You could find that the stretch that takes you towards the Manette area looks to have been done on both sides. Of course, it doesn't get to the adjoining boundaries of the Spinters Road, but then it gives you a vivid picture as to what commitment the contractors attached to this. Initially, we were expecting that this road would have been completed by now, but we'll have a conversation with the project engineers and we'll get to know whether they have remodified the timeline for this project by way of the completion date, and also get to know what work so far has been done on this stretch, this 7.5-kilometer stretch. But before we speak to the engineers, the contractors for this project, let's try as much as possible also speak to some residents. And you'll find that many people before today were experiencing a number of difficulties just trying to ply the road. So you'll find that the whole place was very dusty at the time. And if you recall, many of the drivers, especially those operating commercial vehicles, were worried that no day passed where they wouldn't take their cars to the repair shop. Now, we will want to speak to those who have their lives well affected by the project and what sort of improvement they've seen since the construction started and at the stage where they are. So we'll get to speak to the store manager of this very store and also get to ask them what the experiences have been so far, whether they are satisfied with the state of the construction and what they are seeing currently. Are you satisfied with the state of the completion?
If you ain't first, she ain't kukra. Ain't first, but no more baby and if you first.
So basically, just asking her, she should be satisfied with the state of the road as far as the completion up to this point is, and she says that yeah, it's better than previously. They used to have a lot of dust that will always be coming towards their end because they operate their shops here. But no me o wiake ehinshi ehikofun no mimbibo me areas yok be no ni nyanta oni agbe na hanyen.
Can you go ne gata na ke da no flood there. Sometimes a bar and I come back across road them. Na me kula me asia le kula mba na mba eni. A year no na road there. Kokwe na impe obete gata.
Okay, so the difficulty they have now is that each time it rains, they feel that the gutters just bordering the sides of the road are very narrow. So sometimes they have overflows and leads to static water on the road. And if it's raining at the time when you're trying to cross over, sometimes you may find yourself getting into the gutters. But minake ni ayelekpa hospital hu ye biene no mi driver for ke many yo akuchwa mi ke nakanibie awie ake anye naba biene ni na fe ne be oba na ake agbene abe abanya naba.
Anyu aba se bia na gbe de nche mi fu onwe wa. Gbe mi fu onwe wa. Wale ake ikule jagbe na dani e ba hin. Kan mi fu kan ba fu mi.
Kan nyamfo gbe
Mi ke ba yin ni e be ni gbe yo le na ke na gboko na no gbe. We ko ni ka gbe na mi fu e ba hin.
Okay, so this is quite interesting. She's saying that even crossing the road is a bit difficult, but I believe it's also because, and she also does concur that maybe perhaps they haven't put traffic lights around around the sections or on the stretch, so that is why. Deborah. No, so we just spoke to Sister Debbie, and she manages the shop, but we also do know that there are many other residents who indeed have been affected by the road, both before and during the construction of the period. So, okay. Okay, but if you see the state of the road, how would you describe it? Because the first time we came, the road was in a very bad state. But now, can you just give me your own testimonies, your own experiences in using the stretch?
First dust. Ye be wa agbene won ke efe to mo ekole ambulance ba lo ana ba ke am find le difficult wa e ya ke road rough bia ne le na ka me ba amena le easy no e sure ka anya agbefen na le no fe amba fe pepepe no fe amba fe fine.
And he's saying that right now the state of the road is better than it used to be, far better actually, and they've been able to see for themselves how quickly ambulances in terms of the vehicles are able to get to the hospital as quickly as possible. Because before then, you'll find that if they wanted to get access to the hospital, it was a bit difficult. We had constant complaints from the drivers that because of the stretch of the road, they couldn't get access, they couldn't drive or ply as quickly as possible, and many of the times they linked sometimes the fatalities of those pregnant women or the passengers that they carried to the state of the road. Any agbene be o inspect fin alo be bodenche
In drive get chono
no afe kayangbe.
But I'm fe get she manet court junction me.
Okay.
Ke agbene be ke se be chauffeur amba she police station energy la scala main road ke ya Accra be chauffeur amba she Germany inchon amba agbena agbega me gbena be traffic lights ke agbene zebra crossing ke ni bi ne baba ke inchon ya ke no fia no if fine.
Oh, nice. So it means that you won't blame the MP again, because the previous one you said the MP.
She jere like maybe you against your she be na fe ne le want you often one amishe.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Then I just abodo.
Okay, so Daniel, we're just telling me about how they've seen a lot of respite because the road has been done. And that's a good thing for him. Let me speak to the head of the Residents Association in the area, and Mr. Metal Nuno. And thank you for joining me. What's your first name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. And since the last time we spoke, we've seen tremendous improvement in the road.
Yeah.
Of course, it looks like the timeline for completion is still lagging, but what will be your own pointer to how well they've done the construction up to now as a resident?
Yeah, we give glory to God, and we thank the multimedia group, the residents, and the drivers who helped to publicize the nature of the road for the government to come in. Now, from the last time we spoke, the government gave us a time frame that they were going to finish the construction. However, today, standing here, you realize that construction is still ongoing. Now, from where we are standing in front of the Lekman Hospital, when you get to the Manette court, from that side to the Manette Junction, it's not been done. Now, from here, going to the southern sector, the police station, when you get to Yomo Space, from that side, the other side of the road has also not been done. And then the last part to the police station, the La Scala Junction, it's also not been done. But now, about 70%, 80% of the job is being completed. And then you realize that now the state of the drivers, check the cars that are parked at the station. I told you that one of the reasons why the residents and the drivers and everybody were calling on the road to be completed, where it was left off under the last administration, was that you realize that most of the school kids pass on this road, and at the time when you come here, you see the level of dust, and then accompanied it with its health implications. Most of them get asthma and heart problems and then all that. The drivers as well, you see that their cars are always getting spoiled and then all that. The hospital, even as of today, even though the road is constructed, look at the color of the hospital. You realize that it's all dusty, and imagine the dust that gets into the wards over there, where there are sick patients over there. So all of us together, the residents and everybody, were calling on the government to come and complete the road. This road started a long time ago, right from the time of His Excellency John Ejekun Kufuor's time, and through to Professor Mills, John Dramani Mahama, and now to Nanado. So all of them have contributed their quota to the road. And at the time, we residents of Teshie felt that it's high time the road was completed, because at the level that it was left with in 2016, it was just left about 20% for the road to be completed. And we didn't understand why the government will not prioritize a road like this. Most of the drainages were constructed. Most of the high tension poles were relocated. Most of the gutters at the sides were done. And also the demarcations and the demolition of the road and the payment of the compensation. So if it was left to just tying of the road 20%, we don't understand why they'll still wait and then be dragging their legs. But glory to the glory of God and to the glory of multimedia group that helped in us pushing this agenda, we are seeing the road as it is today.
If you have experience plying the route, where do we find construction, and where do you think that the contractors need to back up?
Yeah, construction is still ongoing around the Yomo Space area that I said. And then also, after the road was constructed, I've used the road during night. I've also used it during the daytime. I've used it during raining time. Now, first of all, during the daytime, you realize that there are lots of cars that overspeed on the road. When you take a critical look right now, there are lots of cars that are overspeeding on the road. We've had several accidents on the road as well. Now, at night, you realize that our lighting system on the road is very poor. And because the road is tarred, people are also speeding very much. Now, when it rains, you realize that most of the water does not have access to the drainage at the side. It's also something that the contractors need to look at as well. But generally, because it's a dual carriage, one of the complaints we've had during our residents association meetings is that the road does not have a lot of junctions to be able to do U-turn or negotiate into your houses and stuff. We've explained that because the dual carriage and cars are speeding, we're going to have a lot of junctions. So they need to go to the end and then turn. These are some complaints that have come. But generally, residents are happy that the agitations and the publicity that we made on the road have yielded a positive result. So we give glory to everybody. We give glory to the former MP, Honorable Edi Akita. We give glory to Honorable Nino Tedra, Honorable Benita Seno Kitidra, who under a watch about 80% was done, and then Honorable Koboy for completing the 20% of the road, and Nanado. But generally, we are all happy.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel. And Emmanuel Matuluno is the head of the Residents Association. And as you can see, the blocks are ready, the drains have been done, so just left with the covering of these culverts to make sure that we get to the next stage. What we're going to do is to again tell you the sort of work that has been done. We can only get that from the contractors. And if you speak to the supervisors or the contractors of this road, they will give you the overview of what has been done so far. We'll speak to the resident engineer or the supervising engineer of this project and also tell you where they are currently, when they think they have to finish, whether they think that they've delayed or not. Now this stretch that takes you right through to the junction at Teshi, and you'll get to see how speedily the work has been done to make sure that, well, everybody is on board, everybody is catered for, and the residents would be happy. Foremostly, we also do know that it was the Lekma Hospital. The Lekma Hospital at the time that was recording some fatalities, especially when it came to the pregnant women, and then also some difficulties for emergencies at the time. And that called for that great initiative and the campaign to make sure all of us were coming on board. So you can find that, well, once you find the men and women in helmets and PPEs, then you know that we're close to the contractors. Now, you are what exactly are you, sir?
I'm representing the consultant.
What's your name, sir?
Engineer Philip Ansa.
Okay. Now, engineer, if we take a look at the state of the road, when were we supposed to complete the road in the first place?
Yeah, that's a long process. There was an initial contract that was awarded. It went through several stages. So at this stage, a new contract was signed in November last year. So based on that, we are working towards November this year to substantially complete the project.
Just within a 12-month period?
That is what we are planning towards.
So far, what has been done? By way of the technical aspect of what we have filmed and seen, how best can you put your technical language to our visual, so to speak?
Yes, essentially with the road layers, we have three. We have what we call the sub-base, the base course, and also the wiring course, which you see, the black, as the ordinary people will talk about it. We finish most with the sub-base, and a section, as you see, one side, we're almost done with the up to binder. So there are some few sections from kilometer 0 to about 2 kilometers on the right-hand side. As I stand here, this is my right-hand side. We are working on the sub-base and the crash rock base. Then we lay the binder course, which is the first layer. The wearing course are 2 layers. You have the binder course, and then we have the asphaltic wearing course as well. We're doing a similar thing also towards the end of the project. So in terms of the work, this is how far you've come.
If we take a look at the other ancillary works, what have been done so far, in addition to all that you're saying?
Yes, we've done a lot of the drainage. Where you're standing, you could see that we have to change the existing drain, which was smaller, because there was so much storm water in front of the... In order to solve the problem of drainage here, so we have to change the dimension. This is as much as 1.5 by 1.0. So
you're saying initially the first culvert that was put on the drain, so water collected. Okay.
Yeah, so we have to change it. So we've done a lot of the drains. We still have some outstanding, and then some of the ancillary works have to do with the walkway. I guess you took some photographs, about the walkway where the pedestrian will walk. That one too is ongoing. And then there are some relocations that we do where the electric cables come in the way of the road. You have to relocate it. Those one too, we've done substantially well about that.
We've seen that when you're heading towards the junction, there doesn't seem to be an overlay there. Why?
No, that was along the line. We have to cut and then put what we call some ducts in. Usually we have to make provision for some. So the contractor did his finish, but we realized that it was not well done, so we asked him to do. So what he has done is just a temporary measure. When it comes to laying the asphalt, he will do all the necessary repair work so that it will be very clean.
So you said the work is 100% complete?
No, I haven't said that.
Okay, so what was the percentage?
As of now, we've done up to about 65% of the work.
And we've spoken to many of the residents, and especially those who tend to patronize the hospital as well, and they seem to be very much happy. For those that you need to do the relocation for, have you compensated everybody, or that was done even before the project started?
Yeah, as I told, the project has gone through a lot of phases. As of now, I don't know of any compensation you have to pay to anybody.
Somebody was saying for just a 7.5 kilometer stretch, we seem to have kept long on it. I mean, even from November to now.
Are you sure?
I'm asking.
It's not true. Yeah, it's not true. Looking at, I guess I've given you a background to the project, so maybe whoever is talking about, it still also refers to
some history.
Yes, history. But within, you're talking about 9 months, and that's how far they've done.
But for where we have reached, you as the engineers and the contractors, what assurances then can you give? How do you hope that by November the stretch would look like, based on what you have by way of your plans?
Yeah, so looking forward, what we need to do, once we'll finish those crushed rock, that's the base, we'll lay the remaining binder course, that's the bitumen. Then having done that, we'll go over everything with the finished wearing course, that's also asphalt. Then we'll bring in the line marking, those furnitures, street lights and other things.
So you're going to fix street lights on the whole stretch?
Sure.
Great. That's great road. Good work so far, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well, so that's engineer and any other person you want to give me for, or it's just you alone? So that
I think it's enough.
Oh, it's enough.
I represent those guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, engineer and sir.
Welcome.
And engineer and sir is the project engineer for the supervising, making sure the right things are done. But it's because the Lekma Hospital is the main hospital where we tend to have all the concerns initially coming from, but it looks like all these concerns have subsided. It's because the 7.5 kilometer stretch, as we call it, the Lekma Road, is now 65% plus complete. But we have to say that initially when the concerns were being raised, we're told that between 500,000 and 1 million people utilize this road, deploy this road. Now, it also means that it's not only residents in Lejokuku, so to speak, who tend to use it. You have people as far as Lashibi through the rest of the Spinters Road who necessarily may not be part of the constituency, but then benefit from this road. So that's how it is. And you can see that each time that people cross the road to the hospital, it is because some great work has been done to make sure that we correct the initial concerns that they had. Indeed, when we came here several months ago, last year, we did find that there was dust right here. But now, this is the current state of the road. It's from here that we have to go back to the studio. The latest update, the 7.5 kilometer stretch, the Lekma Road, as we call it. Back to the studio.
So now we will try and speak to the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, and he's on the phone. Good morning to you, sir. Oh, well, we seem to have lost him now. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have more for you right here on the show.